Welcome to this final set of tutorials about how to create a new text within the library, how to work within it. For me it was surprisingly complicated to set it up, not only because it's complicated to have a tutorial on developing content, so this is simply not possible in reasonable times. So you have to separate content from the presentation of tools, so it needed another didactics. But writing a text within the plenty and using all these tools, you might think that this might be easy. No, it's not easier than writing a text without any help. So, and I didn't expect it. This is a little surprising, but if I think about it, of course, it's like that. So now I will show you how I'm using all these tools. There's a new version because with all my experiments I developed this environment much further. It's faster, it's more robust, it's getting better ergonomics, and hopefully you will appreciate that. So like always, we start with the start file in this distribution. The database has to be installed. You have to run these initial files. Then you have to select your library or a subdirectory of your library. You have to connect to the database. And now it's there, and now you can start. So I organized a lot of stuff in my library. I had books, and with this distribution you will have a small library, and I will deliver it so that you can make the experiments I'm showing to you. You can make it by yourself and redo it. So I have my library of books here. I have some experiments in my work. Now I'm working on a text of Adolf Loos, and this is my document I'm working with. And I want to explain you how, and I'm developing my text with. So, and I will show you how this, I'm doing that, I'm organizing that. So the first step is that you have, in this case, for example, with Loos, we have the books of Loos. So what I had is, I have 3 books now. It's Gesammelte Werke. It's all the text Loos wrote. I have a notebook for that, and this notebook is translating most of these texts are in German, some of them are in French, and I translated them to English to get an integration to our library and to work with. So that's a notebook here. So Ins Leere gesprochen again is a book of Loos. It's redundant to gesammelte Schriften, but it doesn't matter. So it's another book here, and it's part of the library, and Ornament and Crime, it's original in English, so you have a good translation in English of that. So there are a lot of files now with crazy extensions, which are part of our environment and of our computation. Loos got some critics because he was with pedophilia, and he was sued because of that. This is an article about that. So, and what you have here in this library, simply collect everything you need and what your hand can find, what you need as your corpus of operation about Loos or your project. So put it here, in here. So the system will get the proper files to work in a consistent way. So this corpus of the person laws is summarized in a file called, and I created that, it's called the identity of laws. So it's always working like this. You can take that as a scheme and follow that. It depends on which how you use these tools. I suggest doing similar things in a similar structure like I suggest here. And now I want to show you how to create an ID of another architect to work on books of him. Now go, for example, here with, let's take Koolhaas. So we have only one book. Just make a new directory. Put this book in here, so you can have multiple of them. That's okay with one. So now we have to create a new file, and my convention is that I save it in architecture in Koolhaas, and I call it Koolhaas ID, the identity of Koolhaas. So this is working with Koolhaas. So therefore, give it a name here. This is a link, and to create a link, we say page create of working with Koolhaas. So then we get this, bring it to the clear format. So we have this. I choose here the style chapter. You can set the style, and or you can put it with a shortcut. So now get with the tools. Okay, let's make MTP page create tools. So okay, so you can copy this, then you get the, then it shows how it's working. Take this, there's a certain instruction how to init the identity for Koolhaas of these books. There's a detailed instruction where, in the case of Christopher Alexander, but there are already tutorials for that, so we don't want to follow that. You simply can copy this, keep that. Now the link here is linking to Adolf Loos. If we want to have a link to Koolhaas, we have, for example, say copy. This is needs a special copy because this is a formatted text. You have to copy the plain text. So Shift Command Out, copy, then say MTP page create, paste, and then get rid of it. Then you have Koolhaas, and then I think it's 4. So now we have init Koolhaas. Okay, now let's adapt that. We want to have that Koolhaas ID. 12 is good for a single book. So it has 12 by 12 cells. Now let's see what happens. We select the dictionary of the person, the author, instead of the books. So don't go for the book, go for the author. So go for the author, not for the book. Choose that. So now it's creating a dictionary with 85,000 words of the books of Koolhaas. So this is the vocabulary Koolhaas is using. So within this vocabulary, then the paragraphs of Koolhaas are clustered. These are 1,600 paragraphs in this one book. And they are clustered and they will give us the map. So a certain access to the world of the corpus of Koolhaas. So this is saved here, Koolhaas 12, because we have a 12 by 12 sized cluster, a map. You see it here. So this is what we have now. This is our notebook for the identity, how to talk with or to work with Koolhaas. We have the book of books of Koolhaas. These are all the things we discussed already. How to create them. Then we have an index. This is for fast full text search, internal. You can, if you delete it, it will be reconstructed. It takes time. Then we have the dictionary of Koolhaas, the same. It's internal, and it takes time to reconstruct it. And this is our text map. So you see, this is of small size, which is good. So if we want to reconstruct that, because, for example, we have a new book or we have changed the book and so on, then remember you have to update the database, and then you can update dictionary and the text clusters. So if you want to update the dictionary, you simply have to delete this file. If it's there, it's not recalculated, whatever you're doing within the books. Good. If you want an update, use this command. If there is no change, because you simply want to use it as it is, then you can load it, which is very fast. So we take this name here and put it here. That's not good. It's formatted, so 12. So and this should be the same like reconstructing it. And now you see here, it's super fast. It's working properly. Now we have it. If you want to see it, to be able to work with it, as discussed in previous tutorials, copy this from our guideline here, from our master. Then we have to, you see again, this is towards Loos. If we want to have it with Koolhaas, MTP page create map, and put it to a subchapter. So we want to see the map, then we need to have it with, instead of with Loos, we have to get it with Koolhaas. This is our map. So this looks proper. So for example here, Architecture Center, City, Corbusier, Manhattan, etc. 17 paragraphs with this cluster in the vocabulary of Koolhaas. Is not an absolute one. If you want to see that, then you go here and say text select with Koolhaas, and here you see the paragraphs, the 17 paragraphs, If you want to see that in text, you see it here. You see there's crazy things. Delete them, save the whole thing, and if you want to refresh database, update the database, and this will change the whole, improve the whole setup if you clean it up. But this is how it works. Go here, look it up, or go here and see how it works. Good. This is with the map. Save. Can close these things to get better overview. This is how to get used and get an overview of Cola. So you know you can read this as what you should do. You read the table of content, try to understand which kind of concept he's using. Then you can spread the things. If this is too much, then the alternative way is getting a 6, for example. Do the same with thics. It's quite fast because a dictionary can stay, can be reused. And the small ones are fast in calculation. Now Cola's ID is the 6. We can change it here if we want. But now we have a 6, and now it's more compact. But now we have a lot of paragraph each, which means we have to say ID text zoom of Colha's ID, and then we want to have a 3x3, and we call that Colha's 1. This again is a self-organizing map, and then we say ID text show of Colha's 1, and then we get a zoom into, for example, Manhattan Center. Go here, and then we have that, and then we have very few paragraphs, and we can find. Then we have it here. Colha's 1, and then we have very few. Good. This is how to work with the maps and to get an understanding what Colha's is writing about. So, to get friend with him or not. There's a word search. We again have to TP page create. So it's working like this. Now we have to copy it plain. So we simply can ask, for example, for ornament or function, and we ask Colha's ID. We want to have a result as a list. We want to ask for the word, for single words, in this case a function, in this corpus. If we evaluate that, it's fast. So all these 12, maximum 12, so we can go for function, and they have function. So then we can see what Colha's is talking about function, and they are randomized. So if you continue, you get another set of 12 if they are more than 12. So this is good to read. If you want to see the context, see that, and then you can read within the book if you want to go in depth. It's just an index to a certain thinking, a certain argument of Koolhaas. Don't trust the things by itself. You always need the context and the good idea with it. So this is a word search. And map results, so for example with functions there will be a lot of things, so we can do the same like we did here. First we have to check the link, MTP page create of copy plane. Okay. So we do the same here, Koolhaas ID, this is Koolhaas 2, ornament, say function. We have a 4x4 matrix, we put that as a map and show it with J2, and then we want to see the selection of Koolhaas 2. So now we have a map. It's a little too big, so not too many. So we'll simply make it 3, and it's more compact. That's good. Now we go to function hotel, rock, floor, function design, Manhattan Street, hotel, city clean, whatever. Go here, and then you see the 3. So this again is how to get an understanding of what Koolhaas is talking. So that's, I think, is it. What you can have a texture search. We will have that later. So reading that, you might find these things interesting, and then you collect it. Huh? So therefore then you can say MTP page create so you simply collect interesting, or put it to, you collect the interesting paragraphs, and this is done by simply copy and paste it, and whatever you do, say that, comment it, you can highlight that. So whatever, you understand it. So keep it. So these are kind of notes. These are the tools, and this is the corpus. So you're working here with this as your working environment, and then you start creating your corpus of work, and keep it as the document, which is your discussions, your private discussions with Koolhaas. So now, what, for example, was interested in laws, this might be interesting, is this. Look at this. Again, MTP page create, my interest. So, Koolhaas. For example, our text we want to work on with laws is on economy, ornament, crime, erotic, beauty, and evolution. So we will have that later. So what we can find now is what is Colas telling about it. So these matches with this area of Colas. So mainly here. So if we go there and say Colas, then these are the quotations of Kohlhaas around my interest in these concepts developed in a talk about laws. So that's very interesting as well. Take them if they might be interesting and put them here. Keep this link, because this is the original. Make a comment, keep it, and save your conversation with and your work with Kohlhaas. So the idea is that with all these authors you get friend with, you get used to, you work like this, and you document your work, and this is available for the next step if you want to make your own writing. You need this understanding, incrementally improved understanding, and you need these frequent talks with your authors you're referring to. And this is the environment to do so. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.